Yeah, so our next program is starting now. We have three of our quite advanced devotees here who will be talking on the journey of their holy name. So please be seated and they will share their learnings with us. First is we have Kalindi Mataji, one of Kalpatru, my memory. Kalpatru Mataji, one of our most senior devotees in the congregation, who's been serving the deities and devotees and giving classes, part of preaching activities for more than a decade or close to 2 decades. So she's going to first start with her journey of her holy name. And we invite Mataji to come over. Please take your seat here. Followed by His Grace Neelam Madhava Prabhu, who is a devotee from his childhood, right from childhood with his parents. He's been visiting temple, doing preaching activities, and a wonderful, wonderful kirtanier. So, welcome, Prabhu. Yeah, please be seated. Then we have Patitanam Prabhu, who's Patina Pavana Prabhu, who's again been doing preaching for a very long time, outreach activities, book distribution, online classes. So we invite him to share his journey as well. So let's give a big applause. Haribol, Haribol. Yeah. Journey of
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Giriraj Swami Iti Namne Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Nama. I feel little nervous speaking in front of so many exalted Vaishnavas. I'm not a public speaker, but as a service, please bless me. So I speak, I share something which is, meaningful and beneficial to all of us. So my journey with Japa, with the holy name, is very long, but very slow moving. When I got married, my husband was already an initiated disciple of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he was living in a very small town in Oklahoma called Ponca City, population 25,000. So anyway, when from India, I am from a very small town in India, up in Himalayas, and so we were not really exposed to much, outside world, to say. So I didn't know about ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, chanting, and arranged marriage. And my mother said, well, he's Krishna devotee, so what could be wrong, So, I think it's good match, okay? So I was very young, 20-year-old. So I came to this small town in winter. So everything was gray and, very different experience. And he gave me chanting bead bag also and said, whenever now you have so much time in daytime, so whenever you have free time, you should also chant. And other things he said, whatever you cook, offer to the deities. And also he would get Back to Godhead magazine every month. So he had a bunch of them. He said, read articles and write summary. And in the evening, I'll ask you, report. So little bit I did that. But chanting, I really kind of resisted. Because growing up in India, the only people I saw chanting were, old Babaji or some ladies who lived in ashram. So I thought, I'm not any one of them. So, but just to, be obedient wife once in a while, I will chant. I remember mostly I chanted when I was kind of upset at him, to my husband for some reason or other. He would say something mean, or then I say, I'm not going to talk to him. So to avoid talking to him, I will take my chanting bead and So because I thought, then actually he kind of appreciated that he wanted me to chant, so he was, okay, good, she's chanting. But then other times I would like avoid. And the closest town where deities were was Dallas, which was 4.5 hours away. So once in a while, we would go there, but that was pretty much it, my devotional service. And then kids came along, and then he got busy, I got busy, then definitely chanting was in the back seat, So then I would, because of time, fast forward 20 years, kids grew up, they went to college. And, my husband also wanted to revive his Krishna consciousness and, improve his japa. So he, in the Back to Godhead magazine, there was an advertisement that japa retreat in Delphi, which is near Atlanta. So from Oklahoma, Atlanta is not that far away. Of course, 10, 12 hours of drive, but he said, let's go. I said, no, I don't want to go, you go. What will I do? I had no idea what a retreat is, I thought, there will be so many exalted, advanced devotees, they will ask me something and I have no idea. So, I said, no, you go. I completely didn't want to go, but he insisted, encouraged. So I relented and we drove. And it turned out to be a very nice experience. And the first time I heard, for a whole week, it was a week-long retreat. And there were facilitators such as, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj, His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj, who later actually I took initiation from some years later. But that was the first time I heard him and saw him. And so many devotees, nice prasadam, many hours of kirtan, talks by, all these senior devotees. So we were like absorbed for 7-8 days with holy name. And so the holy name, ended. And I remember while we were driving back, the kirtan was ringing in my head all the time. And even like when I will look outside, there will be Mahamantra written, like even in the sky and everywhere. I saw Mahamantra. And then, and then I had actually likened the chanting. I was chanting and I didn't have problem because the words were coming right in front of me. So that was very divine experience. That's all. Then after that, it didn't last very long. Even actually for 4-5 days, even in the sleep, the kirtan was playing. That is, one good side effect. And then after that, I started to chant regularly. And chanted regularly. And, we would go to Dallas more often. And devotees will also come to our house to do home program, and I would cook for them, and they like the prasadam, and I think their blessings, whatever you call it, their mercy. And shortly after that, we went to Dallas. That was actually happened to be His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj's Vyasa Puja. He was there, and somehow or other, someone said, oh, she would like to talk to you, without asking me, to Maharaj. And I said, oh, okay. And Maharaj said, what would you like to talk? And I said, well, I will like to take instructions from you, Maharaj. And then he said, okay, later we will speak. So a little bit later, I got to talk to him, and he asked me, several questions like, what do you think of demigod worship, or who are your friends? What do you do from morning till evening? So at the end, I said, Maharaj, I would really like if I would move to a city where there is a temple, because without association, it is really difficult. And he just very kindly, compassionately kind of nodded. And I became a little emotional, I remember. And actually, within 1 month, my husband got this notice that his office closed in Oklahoma, and they moved to Houston, the whole office. moved to Houston. So I remember when I found out, I was literally jumping with joy. So because I started, I was, after the Japa retreat, I was praying that I don't want to, stay in Oklahoma. I didn't like, because my husband stopped going to any gathering, Indian people would keep, because he said it's all nonsense talk. So he would not go. So, but without association, without anybody, I was also, for my own, I guess, selfish reason, I wanted to move to at least to near temple. And then as soon as we came to Houston, there was another Japa retreat in Conroe, Texas, with His Grace Mahatma Prabhu and Guru Maharaj and others. His Grace Ravindra Swarup Prabhu, a very nice senior devotee, Srila Prabhupada disciple. So there, I remember Mahatma Prabhu took us on a guided meditation where he said, close your eyes and you are walking in a very scenic place, green meadows, there is a narrow path you are walking, then you go down and there is a beautiful little temple next to a flowing river. And you go inside the temple, there are Shri Radha Krishna deities. You bow down and you ask for a benediction. And you pray to the deities, and then he said, open your eyes and write that prayer, that benediction you wanted, write it down on your diary. So I wrote it down, and actually several years ago, I came across that diary, and I had written, actually, I would like to live near the temple in the community of devotees. And so actually that, it came. So what I'm saying is, all these retreats and association of senior devotees and devotees helps you a lot. It may not be obvious. Obviously, sometimes we think, we attend these retreats and then we forget, after some time. But in a subtle level, it helps you, and Krishna, sees that we are at least trying to improve, trying to put in our effort, and then he gives us, his mercy. So I always liked attending the retreats and reading books about Japa and listening to the lectures and everything. So I have gathered, or I have learned few things I try to apply in my chanting. So I would like to share that. For one thing for sure, I have experienced that going to bed early is the key. Otherwise, if you sleep late, even though number of hours may be same, but I have noticed if I have, slept late, then during the japa, you are trying to just stay awake, and then where is the question of quality, trying to improve focus or quality. So that is, I found very important that go to bed before 9:30 at the latest. And then next morning, you may wake up, actually, I sometimes feel that I wake up 3:33, and then still I am not asleep during the japa. So it is really important to go to bed early. And the second thing, where you chant. Chanting in the association of devotees is definitely helpful. And in my case, I am fortunate to be living near the temple. So I come for Mangalarti every day. And then after the Mangalarti, we chant with other devotees. And we are very fortunate to have association of His Holiness Hanumat Prasad Maharaj now. And you can feel the energy, the devotees like him who, and many other very sincere devotees are here in Houston. They chant even though my mind is still goes here and there, but then when I look at them, I say, oh, look at her. She has not moved for whole, japa, and I'm here, just being so crazy. So that helps me to bring my mind back. And then Tulsi Maharani, we have two Tulsi Maharanis here. My Guru Maharaj always said that Tulsi Maharani helps you bring your focus back, because she reminds you, that, oh, I need to chant. So, so, where you chant is also very helpful. And then my Guru Maharaj will always say there are 3 P's in, if you are improving your japa. 1 P is for posture, that our posture should be nice and straight, so we, that will keep us from falling asleep. Other one is the pronunciation, our Maha Mantra, how we chant should be clear, every syllable we should be able to hear and loud enough so we can hear. So that also helps definitely. Then other one is prayer, other P is for prayer. Our mood, like we have been listening this morning, that in a prayerful mood we should chant the holy name. So of course, that's one thing to know, but sometimes, still you don't do, but even some of it you do some of the time, that's better than not doing it. And then third thing we also talked about in the morning, that approaching the holy name with a very personal feeling, with a very, His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj has said in his Japa retreats that, unless you approach the holy name in relationship with Krishna, because holy name is not different than Krishna. And then, you have to think that I'm going to be with Krishna while, I'm chanting now, and now Krishna is with me. And that will, slowly, sometimes you do see that glimpse if you keep reminding yourself that, okay, holy name is Krishna. And, so at one time I remember I was chanting and just looking at this Brahma Vimohan Leela picture. And then all of a sudden this thought came to my mind that chanting means, when I'm chanting, that means I am with Krishna. So that day, actually, for some reason, I could connect. I could, really feel that, Krishna is there when I'm chanting. So, that feeling stayed for a little bit, not long. And after that, I have never been able to feel that way. But that day, I was really very much moved that, actually chanting is being with Krishna. So, I was recently listening to one of the lectures by His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he said that actually we have to be really forceful, meaning our mind and senses are very forceful. So we have to be more forceful, otherwise we will never win. Just like our mind and senses are always telling us, okay, you can do this, you can, call this person or do this, like Prabhuji was saying earlier, that mind is always telling us do something else. So then, but we, if we really want to be with the holy name, then we have to, just ignore the mind and concentrate and say no to the mind. And, so slowly, then he said, our spiritual intelligence gets, stronger. Maybe in the beginning we will only be able to focus for one mantra, but if we keep resisting the mind, then, just like exercising, when we weightlifting, muscles are weak in the beginning, but slowly, if you keep doing, practice makes perfect. So we will build the muscle to say no to the mind, and, we'll be able to focus. And I think actually time is up. If you have any questions or something.
What year you went for the Japa retreat and met?
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, you said?
It was in the woods, a very small place called Delphi, near Atlanta. Hour drive from Atlanta, very scenic place. And the retreat center was by itself, and then the living spaces were around that.
The second question I had is, we heard a lot about your husband and his pivotal role in the beginning. What happened after that? Like when you took it up, how did he respond?
Oh yeah, he was happy. Actually, my Guru Maharaj said that when we were in that Japa retreat in Delphi, and we had golf cart available if you cannot walk, or if you rather prefer to go on the golf cart to the retreat center from your room. So my Guru Maharaj related later on that when one day when he was going in the golf cart, my husband was walking and he said, okay, come, you want a ride? We are going also to the center. So my husband sat down and since they didn't know each other, Maharaj asked that, who are you and all. And he said, well, my wife and I are here and, for this. And then Maharaj said, is she initiated? And he said, no, but she will be soon. So Maharaj said, for some reason, I don't know why he said that. And then soon after, actually, I took his shelter, and within, that was 2008. So, 2009, I asked Maharaj, and then 2011, he gave me initiation. Yeah. So, thank you. Well, the journey goes on, of course. It's a long way to go still. But they say 1,000 mile starts with first step.
Hare Krishna. I think the best part of this is getting to listen to both of you. But Mother Kalpataru especially is someone really special to me. She's my senior god sister. And I have really fond memories and experiences of serving our Guru Maharaj together and chanting together, right? And I think one thing that I appreciate about you is you have very deep devotion and you're very steady in your Krishna consciousness, but you deeply care about the devotees. So thank you so much, Mother Kalpataru. And it's nice that we're neighbors. What a blessing. My parents live next to her, so I was in that house before, then moved out. So best neighbor you could ask for. I don't know how much I have to offer on this topic, really. For me, I wrote down a lot of things. I've been thinking about this for a few weeks, so I want to thank Amalnam Prabhu and Rompad Maharaj. I know he's not here, but Maharaj has also been a really big part of my journey with the holy name. Thank you so much. So I'll share some of my reflections. I've been thinking about this for, I guess, since you asked me, Prabhu. And hopefully this is, at least if anything, it's for my own benefit. Like I said, Maharaj, Rompad Maharaj has been I would begin by thanking him. He's been a significant part of that journey, I would say, as I was thinking about it. I've attended probably at least 10 of these japa retreats. I wasn't not able to attend this one, and now I've got two little guys. Most of you have seen them or heard them. But he really encouraged me. A big shift for me, which I'll talk about as I think back, was in 2006, so almost 20 years now. Rompad Maharaj organized a retreat to Mayapur. It was mostly the Houston and the Chicago youth. I don't know if Prabhu you remember, but I know Rati Prabhu you remember. And that was a big shift where we were, experiencing Krishna consciousness growing up, but this was like 2 weeks where we go and live Krishna consciousness. And so that was a big shift. And then there were several retreats after that over the years. Maharaj also invited me to come to some of the Seattle japa retreats, which was really nice, to lead kirtans. And so I'm very, very grateful for him. I think as I think back, I think that was a big shift for me. Going to that youth retreat in Mayapur in 2006, to me, that was a turning point. Of course, I grew up in the Sunday school and I did some of the classes here, but that was the first experience where I went to spend all day, every day with devotees, kind of absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So I lived Krishna consciousness, really, like chanting together and serving together and doing all those things. And it's amazing because some of those relationships from 2006, I still have today. Last night, just had a meeting. You may know some of these devotees, Mukunda, Shruti, Nityapriya, Kandanam. We had a meeting last night. And it was like, we were just reflecting on 19 years ago. But we're organizing a families retreat. Since we're all in new phases in life. And so we're kind of thinking through what that looks like with families and kids. But it feels like family. And I'm going to talk more about this because I think my biggest reflection is that of all, as I've been thinking about this more, is that this journey with the holy name, it's not really my journey. And I am just sort of just been along, always been the journey of the people that Krishna placed around me, and I'm just kind of tagging along. As I think about some of my, I guess, most powerful experiences or most impactful experiences chanting, I certainly think about chanting with my Guru Maharaj, which I've been really missing. And so when I think about that, I think very simple moments. I mean, where he'll sit in the sannyas quarters here, and we'll sit behind him, but it really feels like we're following him. So there's this person who's on a journey, and we're just kind of tagging along. And there were many nights. I mean, I often did the night shift with him, which worked out great. Like I don't go to Mangal Arati regularly. My kid last night woke up 3 times, wet the bed. Probably too much information, but that's my life right now. But he would be chanting late into the evening. My Guru Maharaj, Giriraj Swami, 9, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and I'll be behind him, and he'll turn around and say, "How many more rounds do you have?" And I'll be like, 5. And he'll just keep chanting. Then he'll turn around again. "How many more rounds do you have?" 3. And then he'll just, and I'm pretty sure I felt like he was just chanting so I can tag along. He's on this journey and he's there with Krishna. And I'm just, he's like, okay, I need to keep this guy with me. Otherwise, he's going to fall. So when I reflected on that, he's the one who's truly on that journey with the holy name. I'm tagging along. And so it's about following. Like, I think that journey with the holy name, I wrote here, like, it's about being connected to those who are walking the holy name and letting their steadiness carry you. I mean, kirtan even is like a very contagious thing. Japa, our practice in Krishna consciousness, you spend time with those who are experiencing it, then you start to experience some of it too. I remember even in 2012, actually, as I was reflecting on this, which is when I asked my Guru Maharaj to be my spiritual master. In his response, he even said, when he agreed, he said, "I'm following Srila Prabhupada." So that word following keeps coming, kind of kept coming back. And so there's this, I'm reflecting on the fact that, like, I'm not actually leading this journey with the holy name. That's kind of where I've kind of landed in thinking about this. I'm not the one leading this journey. Yes, it's like my journey, and because I was thinking about, okay, my journey with the holy name, but what is my journey? And so I'm following those, or I want to follow those who are sincerely walking it. And be alongside those who are following it. And we're all in a line, right? We're all alongside each other, following in the footsteps of those who are following it. And that brings me to friendship, really. Friendship and relationships. So going back to what I said before, 2006, the Mayapur retreat. After that, from 2007 to 2011, we had a series of, it was previously called Pandavasena, but then changed to being called the Sangha Initiative. But year after year after year, I probably, over 15 years, I probably attended 13 of those retreats every single year, and it's at some point helped to organize them. These retreats were amazing. These were groups of youth, we got together, and we had very real conversations and built very deep friendships I still have today. And we talked about real things, doubts, fears, anxieties, things we struggle with, what kind of pressures we're going through, what kind of struggles we're having, and how we really felt about the experiences of Krishna consciousness and what barriers we're facing. And I think when, the topic of this retreat, right, is, I think it's chanting with patience, confidence, enthusiasm. That, I don't know if it was that exact order, but it's something like that. It gave me a lot of enthusiasm, being with the youth and developing those relationships. And I think to me, that was sort of key. If we try to do this journey alone, I think we can lose all three: patience, confidence, and enthusiasm. And it's especially in today's day, right? Like in the early days of the movement, from what I hear and read, right, it was like all-day retreat. You become a devotee, you move into the temple, and you're just in Krishna consciousness all day, right? And some of us are still like living that to some extent. You are living that. But I think a lot of us here have, families, jobs, school. Rohan, are you in school still? Yeah, school, and many responsibilities, right? And so it's harder to make that. You actually intentionally make the time to build relationships with devotees, and it's also hard because I hear this a lot from youth that I talk to and devotees. They feel judged if they're hesitant to reach out to somebody and share something, because of course we live in this like in our organization, right? We sort of have like spiritual hierarchy to some extent, right? There's like, okay, you're first initiated, you're second initiated, and then there's all the unofficial layers, like, oh, he puts tilak on, he wears a dhoti, all of that stuff, right? And but so it does make people a little uncomfortable, I think, because of that. But I think these retreats are so important. And I grew up, I feel like I don't know if I would even be here if it wasn't for those retreats and those relationships. Because we're here to not just receive that inspiration, right? We want to build relationships and connect. And I think I would be lying to say that I don't go through any struggles. Like we all go through struggles, and I have been through many fears, anxieties, and question whether what I'm doing is the right path. And especially through the time that I've had kids, it's been very difficult. And if I isolate myself, then I can't see it all on my own, right? I need others to help me see a difficult situation as a lesson. I need friendship in order to see difficult people that I deal with as my teachers. And the amazing thing that I was thinking about is that those friendships, the right people, and you don't need a lot of them, like one or two people that you can truly confide in, can help you see that, okay, this difficult situation, there's a lesson in that for you. And that, I think, helps you turn to Krishna with a prayer, a prayerful mood, right? Krishna, I'm struggling here. But to even realize that you're struggling, sometimes we need others to help us realize that we're struggling, right? And chanting in that prayerful mood is like, I think everyone's probably experienced it to some extent. It's a different type of chanting, right? Krishna, I'm struggling here. My heart feels tight. I don't feel forgiving. Help me soften my heart. Help me see this situation, this person, the way that you want me to. Krishna, I need you here. Please help me. So I think about even just, my kids, and just I'll wrap up in just a few minutes here. My younger son's turning 4 on Tuesday, and in a couple of weeks, the older one's turning 6. And over the last 5 years, the topic of this retreat is patience, enthusiasm, and confidence. They have tested my patience and confidence and enthusiasm like anything. And we're organizing this families retreat now. And there's several moments, I'll be very honest. When we first had our babies, in many days, I don't finish my rounds. I have catch-up rounds, a diary of catch-up rounds, while Mother Kalpataru has a diary of deep reflections. And I've talked to my Guru Maharaj about it too, and he's very, very kind, like, oh, you'll get to it. Don't worry, is kind of what he's like. But it happens. And in those moments, back to the kids, I mean, like when, especially in the early days when they were really young, you're like, it's still happening last night. But where you're not sleeping much. I have a pretty demanding job. I'm often working till midnight, in healthcare. And so in those moments, I'm just like it's like you feel like I've had moments where you feel like you're in a deep, dark well. You think your kids are the worst thing in the world. They're a nuisance. Your wife is a nuisance. Everything is a nuisance. All of that stuff, right? But my friends, true friends, when I'm talking about true friends, real relationships, they help remind me that no, what you're doing is a service. And they help me learn. I feel like now I think about it, and people have helped me with this, that nothing has helped me more, I feel like, in my Krishna consciousness than having children. And actually my Guru Maharaj told me, like, when we first wanted to have kids, we asked him about it, and he said, there's no greater service that you can do. But again, I don't remember that in the moment sometimes. Just like you'll hear that about a lot of things, right? There's no greater service than distributing books. There's no greater, but sometimes in the moment, in doing those services and situations and struggles, we don't remember that. So that's where we need people to remind us so that we have patience, confidence, and enthusiasm. Because otherwise, it's gone. We walk out of this retreat and it's gone. So I'll close by saying the journey with the holy name is not meant to be done alone. And I would really encourage you, and I'm speaking to myself, that as you come to these retreats, and if you don't have someone in your life, or 1-2 people that you can really truly confide in, pray to Krishna. I'm sure I think he will send. Sometimes even some of the people that I am closer, they're not exactly the people that I may need for a particular station. So we have to pray to Krishna to send that guidance and support for us. So that's all I have to share. I think that leaves 20 minutes for you, Patita Pavan, but unless you all have any questions, but Hare Krishna.
I did some of that stuff. But in terms, you said that you were going to catch up on the rounds after the boys were born and stuff like that. Just a story of possibilities. My wife had the same problem. And every day, which was every day when our kids were little, she would mark down how many rounds she didn't chant on a calendar. And she kept that calendar with her till she caught up.
I think
it is possible.
It's possible. She actually told my wife about that. I heard about that. Thank you. And Krishna Prabhu, before he came in, I was telling everybody about how the Mayapur trip was such a big shift. So Krishna Prabhu took care of us. He totally took care of us on that trip. So we're so grateful to you.
Anymore. So you keep going. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Hare Krishna, that's not entirely true. But it was a little last minute. Somebody else was scheduled who was much more qualified to speak about their journey and probably is much more enlivening to hear from. But my name is Patita Pavana Das, and I've been chanting for 7 years now. The first time I came in contact with the holy name that I consciously remember was in 2018. In that summer, that year, I had dropped out of school seeking something a little more in line with myself, something more in line with my heart, and a way to give back and do something beneficial in the world. So anyway, I was still quite confused about what that was and how to go about that in life. And I was at a music festival and was going to a seminar for something like dreams. It was about dreams, so I thought that was interesting. So I woke up and went. But the lady couldn't get through security, who was supposed to do it. So one person came in front of everybody on the stage, and he said he was a monk from nearby. And so he was a monk, and he taught us how to chant this Maha Mantra. And he taught us how to chant on our fingers, how each little finger can be used as a way to count the mantra. And that was my first exposure to meditation. I had never contemplated, I never thought about anything like that. So hearing the Maha Mantra for the first time, I didn't remember it after 5 minutes, but I remember having a determination that I want to make spiritual advancement in a structured way. And later that year, that same weekend, I got a call that said, hey, you have a spot for you here in Houston doing conservation. So I moved to Houston for a 6-month term, and someone had given me a Bhagavad Gita, and I had carried the Bhagavad Gita with me, and that's when I started studying it and seeking spiritually and hearing about Krishna and learning who is Krishna. And there was a development of faith there. So hearing Krishna's names from Srila Prabhupada and his purports and learning about him. And then what really helped was coming into the association of devotees. There was initial faith in Krishna's personality, that he's the supreme being and that there's something more than Brahman or material enjoyment or whatever. The things I kind of had some inkling of understanding of. But then I was invited by someone at my work to go to the farm, the Bhakti Urban Farm, and actually Neil Madhava and Ram Prabhu, and there was another devotee named Narada Muni. He used to be there as well. And so many devotees, they were doing kirtan programs every week on Wednesdays, and I started getting really attached to kirtan because of the way it made me feel, hearing the holy names and meditating like that. And I started chanting myself when I wasn't at the programs. And I got so attracted, I thought, why do I feel so happy one day of the week? I want to feel happy like that every day of the week. So somehow, whether Krishna arranged, he gave me the opportunity to live on the farm, and I started chanting. And I was chanting 7 rounds a day, and someone invited, one of the devotees who lived on the farm, his name was Phil, he invited me to try out the morning program. And after the morning program experience for the first time, that was it. I stuck every day, coming every morning from Mangalarti. And so I've been there for 7 years now. It's kind of like a little club of devotees who are really solid, and it's really sweet coming together and hearing and chanting. And that journey has been quite profound. In the beginning, there was a lot of purification, a lot of things coming out of my heart, past experiences and traumas and recollection, realizing how I've been acting in my life and how I've been treating others and myself, and a sense of regret, but also a sense of moving in a positive direction, which was going to be able to benefit myself and able to benefit others. So I've continued chanting, of course, and I met my spiritual master, His Holiness Keshava Bharati Das Goswami Maharaj, in just the next year, in 2019. And he gave me a lot of inspiration and encouragement. So he also encouraged me to move into the ashram. So that's, we started a brahmacharya ashram, and we started chanting every day, and I was reading every day. And just experiences that were coming from that acceptance and realization of who is Krishna, what's his position, that he's truly the controller and enjoyer, and that as much as I try to pretend to be the enjoyer, he's the one who's orchestrating everything, and that really when he comes and his pastimes are taking place on this planet or in this universe, then it's very clear who is actually in control. And that was very powerful and inspiring. So my chanting then got more determination, association with devotees from Srila Prabhupada's books. It became stronger, and I got a sense that this is truly what I need to be doing if I want to experience the nature of the soul and so on. And anyway, there was a period of COVID was an interesting period for me. My Krishna consciousness in the beginning was actually, it was kind of unusual because most people are doing so many different things and there's always temple engagements. But after maybe a year of some initial training, then we had COVID and everything shut down and our ashram leader left. And there was just my Gora Hari and myself, and we were left in the farm doing some services. But we just kept our morning program and we kept chanting every day. So it was really, it felt like a very concentrated time of getting serious about chanting. And we were there together and we had to use our own determination to do it because we didn't have as much support from a large community. So it was really nice to have that time where we would just chant all our rounds in one room. I would lock the door and I'd stay in one single room and I wouldn't leave until I was able to chant 16 full rounds, and then falling asleep and so battling so many things, always constantly sleepy because I was staying up. We were doing book distribution throughout the day and trying to stay up and do the full morning program. So there was always a battle and different ways to try to stay awake. But Krishna was always giving encouragement too. There was stronger senses of determination arising in my heart, and there was a significant change in my chanting after my first visit to Govardhan Hill, and being there with very inspiring devotees, especially His Grace by Sheshika Prabhu and others, and hearing and chanting and connecting with Giriraj in that way was very, very profound, and it gave me a perception into the ability to turn away from the external sense objects and internally hold on to Krishna's holy names, that this relationship isn't, we can turn inward and be focused on Him. And that really changed the way I was chanting. And at that time, I also, maybe it's a little strange, but sometimes when I chant really loudly. I'll call out almost like at the top of my lungs sometimes, but I do it in maybe a place where no one can hear me. But I'll do that for as long as possible until the mind completely stops all its nonsense, all its ways in which it tries to enter and take over my awareness, and allow the holy names to be the only thing that I'm aware of. And by chanting extremely loudly like that, then again I can get quiet and focus very concentratedly on the holy names. So that happened. That my first experience of that was at Govardhan, and I came back and my japa was so strong, and I just felt this connection with Krishna's holy names that was really profound and encouraging and inspiring, uplifting. And so I've tried to carry that, and different times throughout my practice. That was in 2022, and I was able to take initiation from my Guru Maharaj around 2022 as well, earlier before traveling, 2021. And he also gave some directions for my chanting. He would encourage me to chant deeply, not just from the mouth, but to chant actually from the chest very loudly and pronounce everything very clearly, and allow Krishna, the vibration of Krishna's names to also be felt in my heart and in my body, just as a way to concentrate on the holy names. And then Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Radha Giridhari, Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai, Shri Gornitai ki jai. So one other personality who is very inspiring and moving in my journey of chanting the holy names, which I'm still trying to do sincerely, was His Grace Parameshwar Prabhu. He's a traveling book distributor. For almost 30 years he's been full-time distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, and sometimes he's just by himself with no association, but he's distributing books always on the front lines, and he's got extremely profound realizations. He's such a deep and wonderful personality that I had the good fortune of living with him for 10 days and traveling with him. And he just pulled out all stops in terms of the importance of giving all attention to the holy names. Maybe it's a little heavy, but he told me that if I'm not seeing Radha and Krishna when I chant Hare Krishna, then I'm insane. He said, this is the quality of someone who's insane. They don't see Radha and Krishna when they chant the holy names. So this may be a little heavy for some people, but it was quite jarring that, the soul naturally loves Krishna. And as long as we don't love Krishna, we're not seeing Krishna, then we're in a state of illness. We're sick. And because I haven't come to the point of that strength of determination that I do want to be with Krishna when I chant his names. I'm distracted by other things, not having faith that truly only Krishna will be able to satisfy all the desires and all the wanderings of the mind that can come to rest when we hear the holy names purely. So he just gave that 20 minutes of very strong instructions and emphasis on chanting the holy names very seriously, and that gave me a lot of inner strength as well. And I started waking up very early, not very early, I was waking up 3 a.m., which is, for me, that was early, and just chanting and getting a lot of my rounds in before Mangalarti. And then I was doing that for some time, and then last year I had a bit of a health difficulty. I was pushing on book distribution too hard. Maybe not too hard, it was a marathon and we were pushing it quite hard, waking up 2 a.m., sometimes 1:50, chanting all our rounds, going on book distribution all day long. And then at a certain point my health just broke and I started having some minor seizures and things. So at that point it took that whole year last year, it was difficult to try to recover and come to a standard of stability, I felt. And before then I was able to chant more rounds to the day, but now I'm chanting 16 rounds. And but I feel a sense of dependency that's been developed through that I had a lot of pride in my own strength and ability to carry out Krishna consciousness, but truly I don't have any capacity to even do anything in Krishna consciousness. The fact that Krishna's holy names are blessing me, that I'm allowed to chant them, is beyond my capacity even. And just to feel that sometimes, of course it's not a constant remembrance, but to experience that and remember that is quite nice. And again, my greatest experiences in chanting are usually these times when I am able to just sit and chant very loudly and hear the holy names completely, and there's a sense of determination and just utter dependence that I have no other place to be and no other thing to do or see or hear or engage with than this relationship with the holy names. And in those times, it truly feels, I could feel that, yes, Krishna is here, and I'm speaking to, when I'm calling his name, I'm speaking directly to a person, even though I may not be seeing him, but that quality of being with Krishna and his holy names and not desiring to be somewhere else, not desiring to look somewhere else or be engaged in any kind of other conversation or relationship, but that dialogue between myself and the holy names is the most desirable place to be. And so that's kind of, that's one of my cherished experiences, those times when I'm actually with the holy names, which I always get covered over and forget and phase into sleepiness and so on. But sometimes they come back. So that's something that has come through this process of chanting the holy names. And I guess I'd be categorized somewhere near Anishta Bhajana Kriya, that I'm chanting every day, but I'm not quite fixed in this full remembrance of Krishna. So I want to leave some time for any reflections or any kind of comments or questions. Yes, Prabhu.
Please, Hare Krishna. At least I know you as a wonderful, amazing, and inspiring book distributor. So I know you have interactions with many people distributing books. Would you like to share something that kind of stood out and emphasized or enhanced your love towards the holy name and Srila Prabhupada? Just maybe one.
Yes, I mean, there's many, when you get to meet all the jivas and their journeys, it's really nice actually. You see how Krishna is making so many arrangements. And I guess one that I go back to, that it wasn't even someone that I approached, but I was getting, when you're on the streets, especially in Houston, you get preached to by a lot of Christians. And so anyway, one time I'll talk to them. But this time they sat down there, they had a very strange facade of being kind and inquiring, but what they were gradually and trying to subtly do was condemn everything that we're doing and call Krishna a false god, which really, when I recognized that they weren't interested in a discussion, then I felt sick of the conversation. I wanted to leave, but so I was just trying to get out, and I left their association and kept going, but my mind was still caught on it. And I was trying to distribute books, but once you get in a conversation like that on book distribution, It just like Prabhu said in his thing, once you talk to somebody when you're chanting the holy names, it brings you down. You're not able to reconnect. So similarly on book distribution, once you get bad association, it takes you into a negative space. It's harder to come back to that blissful quality of book distribution. So I was really mental, and I started praying sincerely for some guidance and some inspiration from the Lord to reassure me that I am moving in the right direction. Because this was some years ago. I was still, sometimes things would happen, and I'd start to question like what I'm doing and everything. So anyway, I sat down and I thought I'll just read Bhagavad Gita. I like to do a chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day. So I was reading chapter 15, and I remember thinking before I sat down that I've read this chapter so many times, so I know there's not like anything that's really directly going to be associated with what's going on in my mind right now. So I don't, but anyway, I thought I'll read it, and I'll hopefully there's something that inspires me. And so I was reading and I was chanting the chapter, and someone approached me and said, "Oh, are you a Hare Krishna?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Can I tell you a story?" And I was like, honestly, I didn't want. Internally, I was really resistant because I just dealt with that, and I didn't want to hear anything else. But I was like, okay, yeah, you can tell me. So after a few times, he said, you know, I used to be homeless, and I was living in Houston, and we lived under the highway, and the Christians who would come, and they all condemn us like anything, that we're all going to hell, and so many things. And he said, and the Hare Krishnas, they would come with big vats of food, and they'd serve us as really warm meals, and they'd take us back in their vans to the temple and let us take showers and, you know, send us on our way. But he said, this is love. And he said, you chose the right path. He said, you're doing the right thing. And he said, you chose love. And so that was, you know, it was quite profound. And then I said, well, can I give you a book? And he said, no, I'm a Christian. He said, you know, he's got his faith in Christ. But it was quite moving, because Krishna is not only is he sending someone to inspire me, but he's coming from that culture and that faith to say that, hey, you know, they're not all like this, and that, you know, just to give me that encouragement. And the next verse I read in the Bhagavad Gita was Krishna describing how he's directing the wanderings of the living entities. He's in the hearts. And so it was quite profound that he was not only speaking to me externally, but he was speaking to me directly from his words in the Bhagavad Gita. So that instilled a lot of faith that Krishna is protecting us at all times.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you share your Kavacha experience in Govardhan, and what is there to take that Kavacha from you?
I didn't plan to turn this into a Bhagavad Gita pitch, I promise. But anyway, I've got a nice little kavacha, and I had bought some special kavachas that have dust from all over Vrindavan and Govardhan, and I took them on foot. I went around Govardhan and bathed them, and I took Dinabandhu Prabhu's new Govardhan Parikrama book, and I was going through all the pastimes and bathing it and reading the pastimes and praying to the personalities associated with them for the blessings to all the people who have the kavachas on. And it was really, actually, by the end of it, I had got to Radhakund, and I was making prayers at all of them, trying to be as sincere as I can. I mean, it's not so much, but this one was quite profound. I mean, I was there, it was nighttime, I had been walking all day, and I was bathing the kavachas and making special prayers, and I felt that the prayers were very heartfelt. The quality was coming naturally. Sometimes you guys probably all have experience of when you pray to Krishna, that sometimes spontaneously very nice prayers are coming. So I felt that was coming from my heart, and right when I finished the prayer and I was bathing them in the water, and I was taking the water on my head to get special blessings, but right when I stopped, this huge kirtan party roared through. It was loud, roaring kirtan, and conch shells started blowing, and it was just really ecstatic, because it felt like I had submitted this prayer that I felt was very heartfelt, and next thing you know, it's like it just felt there was a lot of reciprocation, that this had been accepted, and that the blessings were there. And they also, the deity at Haridev temple, the pujari took the kavachas and he placed them on the lotus feet of Haridev and offered special prayers for them. And so those are kavachas that are available for persons who sponsor Bhagavad Gita's 4 cases of Bhagavad Gita.
because of Patita Pavan Prabhu encouraging us all for book distribution, whatever one can do. So one day I went to this Costco and I had Bhagavad Gita boxes in the car. And I said, well, there are so many people, huge crowd was coming in and out. So I started to distribute and like 10, 11 just quickly went. But then I came closer to the door. And then just before the lady like shouted at me, but before that there was a man. He looked Indian, tall and he was little. So anyway, I said, here Bhagavad Gita, the last one was that, because the lady said you cannot take it inside the stores. Everything has to be, you don't carry anything inside. So I was trying to get rid of 2 I had left. So this man, he said, no, I don't like reading, and they say that it's pap if you don't read and leave it inside. That is very common, right? Then I said, no, this is very good. Actually, it will give you shelter, protection. And he said, really? Today is such a bad day. My mother is in hospital. My car was stolen last night, and I lost my job on Monday. So, okay, he gives me shelter and protection. I'll read it. And, like you said, you never know who, you will come across. Krishna is very kind. And he said he will come to temple this weekend. So, yeah. Another thing, same day, one guy who he said he's from Guatemala. His wife came, dropped him in the parking lot, and she went somewhere. And I just quickly approached. I said, "Here, Bhagavad Gita." He said, "What is it?" And all he, when he heard the philosopher, he said, "It's like Mayan." He believes in Mayan philosophy. Because in Guatemala, I guess. So he said, oh yeah, monotheism. We also have many gods. So I was trying to convince. Anyway, he was very intelligent, asking very intelligent question. 30 minutes passed. His wife came and she said, come. And he would not go. He would keep asking more questions. He wanted to take Bhagavad Gita, but he wanted to clarify a few things. And then she's getting mad. And he's saying, okay, you guys, you leave, then he will come. And then as he walked, he said, you were talking about heaven and hell. This is my hell.
Hare Krishna, where did the hour go? I think it's always a good sign when nobody is looking at the watch, especially when it's prasadam time next. So we need to do this at a longer session next time we do it in the schedule. We're so privileged to be hearing all these wonderful stories and reflections. So let's give some thunderous, maybe not too thunderous, the deities are sleeping, but moderately thunderous applause. Very well. Thank you, Kalpadri Mataji, Nila Madhav Prabhu, Patita Pavana Prabhu.